Hello everybody, welcome to this video, and today we're going to be talking about how to create an anchor as a high performer who is shifting their identity. In neurolinguistic programming, we have something called anchors. An anchor is a stimulus that associates you to a very specific internal experience, and you can use that stimulus anytime at your command, if you are conscious of it, to invoke this internal experience. A lot of the problems that I see with high performers who are trying to shift into new identities is that they're not anchoring in anything. It's like they're trying to give their brain commands, but the brain doesn't really have anything to hold on to. You must anchor in order for it to stick. And a very classic example of an anchor is Pavlov. Pavlov rings the bell for his dogs. He has trained his dogs to expect food, and the dog's mouth waters. And so now, every time that bell rings, the dog's mouth automatically starts to water because in their mind, they're associating to that food, and to food, well, they like food and they want to eat the food, so their mouth automatically waters whether or not the food actually is presented or not. You see, when that bell rings, their body is automatically going to respond in a very specific way, and that's exactly what you need to be doing as a high performer. Anchors can really look like anything. It is very specifically tied to the kinesthetics, and so it could be sight, sound, touch, literally anything. But I do want to note that your words have very specific associations too. This is why your internal language and how you speak to yourself is extremely important, because you have specific word associations that create internal experiences. Another example could be Serena Williams' bounce, serve, breath ritual. And what this looks like is she bounces the ball anywhere between 5 and 8 times, and each time she bounces the ball, she is pattern interrupting whatever is going on in her mind, and she is taking a nice, long, deep breath in order to ground herself into the experience. She is refocusing her mind and her body through her breath. But she has trained herself that when that ball bounces, that automatically puts her into the state of the focus that she wants, and as she's in that state of focus, she's able to use her breath to ground in, to anchor in the experience that she's trying to create for herself. And so as you're going deeper into your layers of self-sabotage, you're really articulating how that version of you operates. You're going to notice that that self-sabotage version of you has very specific thoughts, very specific actions, very specific feelings. And there is a stimulus of some sort that is creating an internal feeling. And when that internal experience has been activated, then it automatically activates a very specific behavior associated with that. Now, I'm not going into detail today on how to identify that, but I do want to teach you today how to create a new anchor so that way you can start experiencing this for yourself. But let's say you're a high performer who wants to feel confident. Well, your brain actually has to be associated to the experience of confidence. And so I want you to think of a moment that makes you feel confident. And if this is hard for you, then that lets me know that you would definitely fall into self-sabotage patterns because your brain is not associated to that internal experience that you want to have. You need to be able to easily identify with this experience. And so if you can easily identify with shame whenever you think about an argument that you had with your partner, then you should be able to easily identify with the feeling of confidence if you're trying to step into this version of yourself. Think of that experience of confidence. It could just be knowing something. It could be something that happened recently, but you want to find some way to invoke this feeling. And a really good way to do this is to listen to music. And so even if you are not able to pull it up as strongly as you should be able to, you can practice doing this and make this feeling even stronger. And a lot of the ways that this is going to get stronger is through your experiences moving forward. When you see those moments like, oh, I am associating to confidence in this moment, I'm choosing confidence. And the more that you choose confidence, then the more that your brain is going to associate to that. But you have this experience of confidence inside of you right now. And so now you're going to amplify it. And in neurolinguistic programming, we have something called submodalities. And submodalities are a way that your brain stores information, and it typically does it in a very physical way. And so this experience of confidence, you want to notice if it's far away from you or close to you, because the closer you are to something, the more that you feel associated to it. And so if that experience that brings you confidence feels over there, you need to bring it closer. And now I want you to imagine making it bigger, making it brighter. So you could imagine seeing it on a TV screen, and you could imagine that there is a little knob in the corner somewhere, and if you turn it right, you turn it up. You turn the quality up, you turn the lights up, you turn the sound up, you turn the entire experience up. And if you turn it left, then you turn the experience down. Well, in this case, you want to turn it up, and as you turn it up, you're going to associate to that experience. Now, as you're very associated to this experience, you're going to want to anchor it in somehow, and so you could tap the back of your hand, you could rub your fingers together, you could think of a very specific color, you could think of a t-shirt, you could associate it to a picture on your wall, but you want to associate it with something that you are going to experience on a regular day-to-day basis. And so I made a mistake of choosing something seasonal by associating my confidence with a very specific pink on a crepe myrtle. Unfortunately, the crepe myrtles are not going to be around all year round, and so I need to start creating anchors that I'm going to start seeing in my home or just in my space on a day-to-day basis. And honestly, I'm thinking about using the little thing that hangs around the mirror in my car. And so I think I'm going to start using that. It's a very specific orange. And so I get in my car all the time. That thing catches my eye every single time. And so I can associate that to this internal experience of confidence that I feel with crepe myrtles, and I can use that as my anchor. Now, this anchor is something that you want to associate with on a regular day-to-day basis. You are creating a ritual for yourself. And so every time that you associate to whatever the stimulus is, whether it was your t-shirt or my little thing hanging around the mirror in my car, I need to be very intentional about associating that feeling that I want to have to that particular stimulus. And so that's all that I have for you today. I know that this was a very quick overview video. My main goal right now is just to get the information out. And so if you have any questions or comments, just leave it down in the comment section and I will try to get back to it as soon as I can.